you don't realize how much you punish your body. We got to look at our bodies like vehicles, right? If you have a Lamborghini, you're not going to be putting rotten gas in it. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ignite the World podcast, episode number 4, Health is Wealth. I am your host, Jamie Dottie Garza, and if you have not yet done so, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast episode. And if you're out there and you love this podcast, well, guess what? And if you love YouTube, all my podcast episodes are in video form, available on YouTube. Search Ignite the World Podcast for more video content and a video podcast version of this. You will not be disappointed. Peace and blessings. Today I'm going to be talking about health is wealth, and inside of that, I'm going to be talking about something that is often slept on in life. You know, I'm 33 years old. For my age bracket, I've seen, and even people older and younger than me, and that's our physical health and mental health. I want to start this off with a story. A few days ago, I took my daughter, Kari. She just turned 4 months on the 24th, and I took her to go visit Abuelo and Abuela. Now, my grandpa and grandma, they're 72 and 73. Well, my grandpa's about to be 73. And I took her over there. And it just warmed my heart when I saw them interacting with my daughter, because it's so many different generations. Like it's like a circle of life. You know, I saw my grandpa hold my daughter, and I recall looking at pictures. We had the Polaroid pictures back in the day, and he did the same with me. And my grandma made enchiladas with the red tortillas. That's a very Mexican tradition. Like, it's hard to get red tortillas. They're only in San Antonio, in the Texas area. And she was able to get some with some big red soda. Again, another Texas thing. And me and my grandpa were eating lunch. And I was just so impressed at like how active he is. You know, he is retired. Yes, he is on the verge of being 73, but he is still in great physical shape because he bowls 4 times a week, and he serves as a president of that league. And just staying active. Like, he's always doing something around the house, installing tiles in the bathroom, like rearranging the garage. Like, that man is active. And he told me, Mijo, you have to stay active, because the day you don't, that's when you begin to die. And he also spoke about meditation, the fact that he meditates, and that's how he keeps his brain so sharp. And it was just great hearing it, especially from somebody not only do I look up to, who taught me a lot of my traits and me being a man growing up, but just someone I admire. And I wanted to like bring that back now because, you know, oftentimes we forget how important our physical health is and our mental health. But first, I'm going to elaborate on the physical health. I'm not going to lie, like, I'm probably like most individuals out there, you know, when you're 18, 19, and then you get into your your 20s, it might be consumed with a lot of fast food, a lot of food that's not good for you, indulging maybe in a lot of sugar, alcohol consumption. That was me. I went all out. And also, I got into smoking tobacco at a young age. I think I was like 16, 17. And I got addicted. It started with those damn Black and Milds. And I remember working at McDonald's. And I would do it because, you know, I realized smokers would get an extra break. So I was like, shoot, finesse the system. And I got hooked, and then that led into cigarettes, and then power of influence. I influenced my friends, and it was just like a whole whirlwind. I'm just happy that I was able to quit tobacco around when I was like 26, about 6 years ago, because I I still am dealing with a lot of the bad mistakes I made in the past. Even to this day, every time I do get sick, like, and I rarely get sick. And shout out to black seed oil. That powder is like, apparently it was in King Tut's tomb, but it's a powder, a supplement I take each and every day, and it has been absolutely phenomenal for my body. I haven't got sick in 2 years. In fact, when I first started this podcast, I was recovering from bronchitis, and what usually happens with me in my physical health is oftentimes a regular cold is never that. Usually, I get on the back end, I always get a respiratory infection that leads into bronchitis, and I really believe it attributes to all the darn smoking I did during my past years, and it's no bueno. The moral of that, though, you don't realize how much you punish your body. We gotta look at our bodies like vehicles, right? If you have a Lamborghini, you're not gonna be putting. And I tell my kids this all the time. You're not gonna be putting rotten gas in it. Or if you have a Tesla, you for sure ain't gonna be putting no gas in it. And those are the kind of things we have to look at these vehicles, because our bodies are vehicles, and we become what we eat. And I know oftentimes, I remember Coach Brooks, Brook Point. I mean, not Brook Point, H. Poole. If you know, you know. A lot of my people tuning in from the Stafford, Virginia area, he would always emphasize in PE, like, the fact that enjoy the physical education, because oftentimes when you do graduate, you forget the physical part. And I actually saw him still running. Last year, I was taking my son, 2 years ago, to daycare, when he was going to daycare, and he was running that route and he was staying active. I was like, man, this guy's getting it still to this day. But it's true. And that brings up like another story. Like, I used to film music videos, and I saw one of my friends, he was recently in a hospital for something wrong with his kidneys. And I was like, man, this guy's like 22, 23. And I'm like, man, like, you never know what can happen with your health. And oftentimes, I've seen this too. I've seen this where oftentimes your health gets so put on the back burner, you're draining it out, you're not sleeping, you're hustling, you're getting it. And by the time you hit like maybe 70, you're off to retirement, you stacked up all your coins, you're about to live the best life ever. Something goes wrong with your body. And unfortunately, you may die and not even get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and all the hard work you put in, because you forgot about your physical health. And that's kind of when I want to dive in deeper today, is talking about the importance of exercise and maintaining a healthy diet. I want to talk about getting enough sleep, because that's something I messed up earlier when I was starting my business and trying to find my way in things. Like, I used to think being a night owl was cool. Like, oh yeah, let's get it, hustle. That Gary Vee mindset, right? But what was happening is my body would have to work 10 times harder, and I would get sick frequently. Like, it almost felt like I had to be in the bubble. If you ever saw that Seinfeld episode of being in the Bubble Boy, I was like, man, I can't catch a break. And I want to talk about also the risk of smoking and excessive alcohol consumption, because I can speak on that. I'm glad that I got past that, because it could have been really detrimental for my health. I got 3 kids now, and they all look up to me. I got a wife now. I got a tribe to lead, and my sons are always looking at me as being a strong man, holding it down, active. I don't ever want them to see me weak. And I'm so grateful each and every day. I really pray like that my health is great, because it really is wealth. I know oftentimes you might be a parent like me as well. We're doing what we can to provide. We're active, we're maneuvering. Life comes fast. Like, there's only 24 hours in a day. And I know it may seem like exercise is out of the equation, but I don't go to the gym. My regimen's very simple. I take walks, and I call these spirit strolls. I take a walk a day. I got to. and it might be like half a mile or a mile. I unplug. I don't have no phone on me, no ear pods, no music. I am in tune with nature. I am in tune with God, and I just use that for me time. And the way I look at it, and this goes into mental health bracket as well, if you can't allocate at least 10 minutes, 20 minutes to you each and every day, what are you really telling yourself? You're telling yourself you're not even good enough for 20 minutes. And if you're someone like me who's a service provider, who's always pouring into others, who's a leader actively, who always wants to help somebody, you need to pour into your own cup. And taking a walk a day keeps me in shape. It keeps my bones moving. I do a lot of prayer during that. A lot of my ideas come from that, and it just puts me in the right track. And usually I fit this walk in after I drop off my oldest son. I have a pocket of my youngest son, I have a pocket of like 20 minutes, and I usually get it done before 9 a.m., before I drop off my oldest. And then, boom, I'm done with the day. I also keep a pull up bar near my office, and every time I walk out, in order to come back in, it's like an admission fee. And I got to knock out 5 pull ups real quick. And that five adds up, how many times I'm in and out. And sometimes I end up doing like 50 pull ups in a day, but they're all at once. But it's in increments. And that's how I get my physical, my muscle strength, so to say. And that's what I do for physical. Now, of course, holding a baby, you know, trying to be Brock Lesnar, F5 in my son, wrestling time, things like that come with it. But I always like to be in tip top shape as much as I can. And again, I don't have to go to the gym for that. This is stuff you can do now. Also, coinciding with that is a healthy diet. And I really started to really understand the power of diet and what you consume. Again, well, let me explain. I used to love chicken. Often people ask me, "Oh, you don't eat meat? You don't eat meat? What do you eat?" Like da da da. It's really easy. I was a meat lover. I was a flesh lover for a long time. It wasn't until 3 years ago I decided to go vegetarian, and it was because my body was telling me signs that chicken was my body didn't like it no more. It was causing a lot of stomach issues with me. It was causing a lot of breakouts in my face. And, I love Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I love Old Bay chicken wings. I love chicken. I love meat. And one day enough was enough. And my best friend, he was vegetarian. He I used to always make fun of him. I'm like, man, what the heck? You going to Chipotle? How you not getting no meat? But he would get like everything else but the meat. And he challenged me. And I'm the type of person, if you challenge me, oh, it's on. I don't half step nothing. I'm on it. Like I want to prove it to myself. It's like a game to me. Like let's keep it rolling. And I remember I started slowly, with the Chipotle bowl, getting everything I normally get, getting the white rice, the brown rice, with the fajitas, the cheese, the beans, the sour cream, the corn, tortilla on the side, just no meat. And then it led into, oh, okay, I could still eat pizza, just cheese pizza. Oh, I could still eat lasagna, just no meat in it. I could still eat, pancit. I could still eat fried rice. I could still eat so many different things. Fruits, oh, that's my go-to. I love fruits. It's natural sugars too. And here I am, about to be 3 years in, and even getting my kids intrigued. And I've seen just a lot of boost in energy. I don't get stomach issues anymore. I'm not constantly going to the bathroom. Oh, my stomach hurt, my stomach hurt. And it just keeps me disciplined. So I was doing the Beyond Meats at one point, but I kind of strayed away from that. I only do that like maybe during like summertime when it's cookout season, getting on the grill. I do enjoy the Beyond Meat burgers. They're really tasty, and even the hot dogs, but it has a lot of soy in it. So I don't really try to implement that a lot during the year. I've also been mindful of sugar and processed sugar and how much that's not good for your body. So I try to restrain from sodas, but it's hard for me too. Like I do have a cream soda every weekend. I don't drink alcohol. I've been alcohol free for almost a year. I think I'm 10 months, about to be 10 months in. So I got to indulge somehow, but all my sugars is natural sugars from fruit. And I'm talking grapes, strawberries, honeydew, watermelon, bananas. That's my thing. I love me a great fruit bowl. And even my kids, I'm teaching them healthy choices too of the benefits. And again, it's being a leader and it's always learning. This is stuff I accumulated over the past, I say, 8 years, and just learning fitness and learning what's good for body, and being able to pour this knowledge out. That's why I'm making this podcast now. Maybe it helps somebody as well. So that's been great. I do intermittent fasting. I've been doing that for like almost 3 years. And it's great because it's all discipline. Like everything I'm telling you is discipline. Like oftentimes I go at least between 16 to 20 hours not eating. And that way, when I break the fast with a fruit bowl, I can indulge, man. I can enjoy the foods I want. Like I love watching The Sopranos, so it always makes me hungry for some ziti, some baked ziti, and things like that. And I can still eat that too with no meat, but I don't actually gain the weight from it. And I've been like the same weight for years. The only time I got inflated was when my daughter was about to be born and I got them pregnancy. I got a taste of the pregnancy cravings, so I was just indulging just like my wife was. It was up and it was stuck. So intermittent fasting helps too, and it just builds that discipline in you. And I've been, it feels like I've been in the most, my temple has been in the most purest place over the past few years. And I would definitely recommend all those things I mentioned as far as like keeping the physical health, keeping that vehicle up. Now, I'm no health expert or I'm no physical trainer, fitness trainer, health professional, but these are just things I can attest to. I mentioned the fact that I did do a lot of excessive smoking in my 20s, smoking a lot of tobacco, a lot of packs of cigarettes, maybe a pack every 2 days. Or what would happen, I would consume a lot of alcohol, and I didn't realize that alcohol breaks down to sugar. So I remember I used to work out thinking I was doing something, building mass, on a clean diet, and then all of a sudden drink some Hennessy. And I was a tight man. I was addicted to Hennessy. Like that was my drink of choice, the dog water, the brown water. And I wouldn't even mix it with anything. I would drink it straight, and I realized that that breaks down to essentially sugars in your body. So I wasn't helping my body pretty much. And every time I drank alcohol, I felt the need to chase it with a cigarette. And it was a nasty combo, ugly habit. And looking back at it, I'm just so thankful that I was able to kick that before my 30s, because the last thing I would want is to have some liver failure, or getting obese, or really messing up my lungs. And I'm just blessed by God that he got me away from that. And plus, again, I'm a father. I'm trying to lead the best example to my kids. Everything I eat, everything I put in my body, I'm trying to spread this to them. Like, yes, being healthy is cool. Be mindful of the amount of sugar you put in your body. And especially like just trying to reframe the framework. There's diabetes runs in my family. So I'm just like reverse engineering a lot of things before I even get to my 40s, and just trying to make sure I don't hit those pockets so I can avoid it. Success is the best teacher in life. Not success, but you can kind of like, I said that wrong. Shout out to success, but you can really pinpoint things in the future by what's already happened in the past, and you can maneuver a little bit different. So that's what I've been doing. And of course, lack of sleep. Lack of sleep is never good. I know who you telling? I got 3 kids. What is sleep? I run my own business. I'm always in grind mode. I love what I do. I'm creating a podcast, and much is given, much is required. That's what God says. And that's true, but you never want to run yourself into the dirt. and not being able to operate at the highest level you can. Oftentimes, I try to get as much sleep as possible. My wife even says if I'm not upstairs in bed by 12, she's on me because she knows for a fact I'm an early riser. I get up like maybe 6:30, 7 in the morning, get my day started. And sometimes she doesn't want me sick because if I'm sick, it's no bueno in my household. So sleep is essential. Get your sleep. I would strongly recommend at least 6 hours. But power naps, a good 20-minute nap, gets me in the game. I maybe do two of those. If I need to record like a podcast or content at night when everybody's asleep, oftentimes I'll put my baby down and I'll take a nap with her for like 20 minutes and then wake up and I'm juiced up. I'm ready to go. And those are really great for your health. So those are some of the physical health suggestions I would recommend for people our age, people older, and just have this awareness in your mind just moving forward. Because again, health is something that we often put on a back burner because we think it's just going to be here perfectly fine for us all the time. But you never know. We can't see what's going on inside of our bodies. It's just like a car, a vehicle. Like unless you're a mechanic, you might get some indications. But our bodies are smart. Like you ever notice, like when you get cut, like if you get cut on your arm or something, like you don't tell your cut like, yeah, let's heal up. Your body does that for you. Like our bodies are absolutely geniuses. So you definitely want to take care of it as much as you can, and just thinking for the future because everything's for the future. We don't want to be. I know for a fact I don't. I don't want to be in my 50s, 60s, or 70s, like not being able to move, being able to move around, or having a heart attack because of clogged arteries, or things of that nature. So best to get after it while you're young. So to recap that, these are my physical health suggestions. Black seed oil would strongly recommend order off Amazon. Get the powder, make the capsules. I take at least 3 of those. That definitely boosts the immune system. Like no cap, like no flu. I haven't had a flu shot in forever. No booster shots, no extra things they were talking about. Like, and I haven't got sick. I got sick. I got caught lacking over Christmas, but that took 2 years. So, would strongly recommend take a walk a day. It doesn't have to be too much. 5-10 minutes. Just get active. Just get that body moving. Get that heart rate moving. Get plenty of sleep. As much sleep as you can. Don't burn yourself out. You gotta think the long haul. Naps are cool. 20-minute power nap. Fasting is great to build discipline, and if you want to maintain a weight or lose weight, it's the best thing ever. I'll talk about it in a second for the mental health side, but it even serves to me as a spiritual awakening and just my immense love. I'm gonna get into that in a second. So intermittent fasting is awesome. I challenge you guys to try vegetarian routes, cutting meat out your diet. It's discipline. But once you get into it, because you don't know what's in meat nowadays, it could be filled with steroids. Who knows what meat is now? I don't know what meat is now. And that's one less thing I have to worry about. I don't know. It's flesh. Another reason in being a vegetarian is because like I believe everything has energy in it. And the energy that comes from the meat getting killed and chopped up, you don't know how they went out. And that energy, when you eat it and consume it, essentially you consume that. Now I just like my temple be as pure as possible. I joke all the time with my kids. It's just people who ask me, why don't you eat meat? I was like, I don't like to eat my brothers and sisters. And it's just like everybody's like, oh, that's it's the best reaction ever. I'm a troll. I love trolling, so I say something like that. But it's some truth behind that though. So try that, and of course, oh, I forgot to mention, embrace the cold. Embrace cold. I do a cold shower. Shout out to Wim Hof. He has this Wim Hof method where you breathe, and this is a guy who climbed Mount Everest, I believe, with nothing but shorts on. And I've got hip to him for like past 5 years, and I love alkaline in my body. So I take a cold shower, maybe like the last minute of every shower I take. And I'm that crazy guy always wearing shorts, even in the winter when it's snowing. Sometimes I don't even wear a hoodie with it. I'm just plain Jane. I get all the sideways looks. My wife is like hates taking me out to Publix and stuff, out in public, period, because I get just people turned around like, what is up with this guy? I'm him. I'm him. But my kids call me crazy, but it again alkalines my body and it makes my skin tougher, and that's what you want to help boost your immune system. So I'm all for that. I'm not bundled up in the wintertime. I'm chilling. So what feels like 60 degrees to y'all, probably feels like summer to me. Good times. Let me get some water. Let me hydrate. Oh, lots of water too. I drink a lot of water. Spring water. I just got hip to room temperature. It says it's better for your body and just pushing everything through. So shout out to spring water. If I'm feeling bougie, I put the lemon in it. Just a little dash of lemon. My son Carter's into that. He ordered that the other day at the restaurant. Yemen water peas with lemon in it. It's awesome. Again, kids be watching. But another thing I want to get into is something really, really slept on, and that is mental health. Now, I'm going to get into a separate episode dedicated to just this alone because I have mental health issues, and I have to work a little bit harder to get through things. But a lot of the core of mental health is the importance of self-care, stress management. Especially, I'm a man, and I looked at my YouTube analytics. A lot of my listeners are men too. Being able to perform at a high level, to provide for your family, to be an awesome business owner, to be a great leader, to just crush every goal. It takes a lot. And oftentimes as men, we don't express ourselves like we should because I know for me, I know I can't speak for everybody else, but I grew up in the era like, oh, you're tough, man, get over it. Like, you'll be all right, me. Like, I grew up from that era. Shake it off. You'll be all right. Being able and not expressing yourself and just things being perceived as weak. Again, retraining of everything the more I learn, and knowing the signs of the mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, and what triggers that, and things to combat that and reframe your mind. That could be meditation. I meditate a lot on God's word. I wake up early. I journal each and every day. I reflect. Every time I journal, I always started off with 3 things I'm grateful for. Going on walks, call them spirit strolls, like I said, just being in tune with nature, the world, God, and Him opening me up, and reading. So mental health is, you don't necessarily, it's the biggest. Mental health looks different for a lot of people. I'm not a mental health expert or a psychiatrist or in that field, but I'm speaking on what I deal with and what I've been dealing with and how I have to rewire everything. And that's what I want to share, because if you're someone who's going through it or don't even realize it, I want to give these tips to make it easy. For example, 2021 was probably like the roughest end of the year for me. And again, I'm gonna get into a deeper podcast episode on this because it's a part of my testimony on how God saved me. But I was very depressed, and I feel like I was burnt out, and I was under a lot of pressure. They say pressure busts pipes. I almost bust my pipe. And I had to read a lot of books. I had to lean into God a lot more, first of all, learn God, but more importantly, I had to learn coping mechanisms to maneuver out of that, getting active, being grateful for things each and every day, writing my ideas down, taking it day by day. That was the biggest thing. Just being okay with the now and the present. Because when you think too much in the future, I know for me, I get anxiety. Like it's good to have a plan and some basic goals, but sometimes when we even think of we put these perceptions in our mind before it even happens. It's like that time when like you want to go to a concert maybe and you got to ask your mom. No, matter of fact, when you have to go to spend the night at your best friend's house and you have to ask your mom, like, oh, my mom's going to say no. She's probably going to say no. I'm scared to even ask because what if she says no and then I can't go to your sleepover. I know a lot of cool kids going to be at the party and da-da-da. You get all this in your mind before you even ask. It's kind of like how anxiety pops off and starts off because you don't know what God's gonna do. His plan's always better than us. That's why I be telling my kids. I'm like, yo, we don't control anything. We just control how we show up. Like, yes, we have free will, but it's always God's plan, it ain't your plan. We don't control how nothing goes. And that's one of the biggest lessons I took from that, the end in 2021 that I continue to carry on is being more present in the now. The past has already happened. Matter of fact, that last thought I just said just happened already. So that's done. That's history. Right now is the present. I don't have no scripts. I don't have nothing in front of me or guiding me. This is all present talk. I'm present with you guys right now, tuned into this podcast because health is wealth. And hopefully these are some gems to help you on your journey and speak awareness of things that even maybe you're not even aware of. So being present has definitely helped. I can't stress enough. Meditation, just breathing, just taking alone time to focus on your breathing. And I like to do this regimen. And I meditate through God's word. I'll read the Bible, and if there's a verse, I'll write it down and I'll meditate on that. That's how I do meditation. Or sometimes before I go to sleep, after I pray, I'll actually do this regimen I'm going to share with you right now. So I always breathe through my nostrils for like 4 seconds. Then I'll hold it for 4. And I breathe it out for 4. But when I breathe it out, it's strong. And I do that cycle like maybe 5 to 10 times, and it just makes me feel calm. I understand when my mental health gets shaken up, I become more aggressive. I become more prone to anger. It's more frustrated. And shout out to my wife because she's been riding with me as I continue on my journey to fix these problems. I always admire her because she's one of the most calmest souls I've ever met in my life. Great, gentle parent, and I often told her, and she's been having so much grace with me. Like a lot of the things that I admire in you, I have to literally work hard. I have to read books about. I have to really be disciplined about. And it's tough, but I'm getting better. And that's all mental health is getting better each and every day. It's not going to happen overnight. It won't happen where it's completely gone. It's just things we have to keep moving in motion. I think there's a lot of my mental health stems from the things I went through and felt in the past. And then it's finally becoming, I'm glad it's becoming, people are talking about it more because mental health wasn't even the thing to discuss in the 90s or 2000s. It was just simply like, oh, you'll be all right, get over it. Like that was that. So I'm just happy that, and hopefully this can spread awareness of mental health because I done seen it done hit clone home too many times, like those taking their lives away or thinking thoughts like that of taking your life. And life is beautiful, and God has a purpose for each and every one of us. And self-care, you got to make time for yourself. Like, do something you love. I love playing video games. I make sure I at least get to indulge in some type of fun and entertainment. What also, reading helps me a lot. I love reading. I got to get my spiritual. I got to get my walk. And if not, my mental health is I tried that like 2 weeks ago. I missed 2 days, and my mind felt cluttered. Anxiety started coming in. Like, it was rough. So always make time for yourself. It goes a long way, especially if you have kids and family. Like, you want to stay on sharp for everybody. Also too, also too, I recently read a book called Dopamine Detox, and being on your phone too much and checking social media and refreshing your feed all the time can trigger some of your mental health. Like, I know for me it did. Like, I didn't. I've recently, and you know what? I make a lot of content. I make a lot of video content that goes on platforms. This YouTube podcast, this podcast in general. So when I first started this, like a few weeks ago or the beginning of the year, I was posting. I was just flooding it, and what was I doing? I was refreshing all the time, and I was in my phone. I was missing moments with my kids. I was missing being present, being out. Like, I wasn't present. And what I learned about the dopamine detox is like training your body to be more focused and do the things that you're supposed to do and not be distracted. And that's what a lot of social media is. Like, I got to be mindful. I look at it like, 50 Cent, he doesn't drink. He doesn't drink alcohol, but he sells it. He knows how to sell it. He knows he'll make money from it, but he doesn't get consumed by the actual thing he sells. I got to use social media in my marketing because that's where I'm teaching. That's what I'm selling to business owners. I'm selling them videos to market on social media to get them more business. But I can't be a victim of the actual platforms. And that's something I've been on a journey now. It's been working great for me. I've got a lot done this week. Shout out to the Dopamine Detox. It's a quick read. I would strongly recommend to anyone. And again, like I spoke about this, I think I spoke about this in the previous podcast. It's just like, comparison. When all you see on social media is the highlights, and it just triggers things in your mind like, oh, they have this. Sure wish I had that. Like, it just puts you in a comparison state. It could, and depending on what your timeline is or what the algorithm serves you. And right now, this message just came to me. I just want to tell everybody out there that you are loved, that you are enough, and you're doing an incredible job. If no one told you I love you, I'm telling you right now that I love you, that you're loved. And if you feel like you're stuck and the chains aren't moving, slow motion's better than no motion. I guarantee you, if you compare your life now to the last 5 years, there was some type of growth in there. And even if it wasn't the growth you wanted, there was a lesson that you learned there. Be grateful for that. That was a message God just gave me right now to deliver, being present in this moment. Keep your mental health atop. Mental health is on the top of my totem pole than physical health. It goes into spiritual health. It's all falls into one. So that's all I have for you guys today. Health is really wealth. You can have all the money in the world, but if your health isn't up to par, sometimes you won't be able to experience it. Stop putting those family moments on the back burner. just to grind out a little extra. Take the time with your family. If you have a family, if you have kids, loved ones, spouses, partners, take the time to enjoy the now while we're here in the now. But most importantly, keep this vehicle of body at the tip top it can. Keep your spirit tip top. Keep that mental health tip top. Because that's where your Holy Spirit rests and resides. And let's continue to move forward. I appreciate you guys for listening. And hopefully this podcast was able to help somebody out there. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. I respond very well. And again, I love you guys. Before we go, I want you guys to remember that we are all like sticks of dynamite. The power's on the inside, but nothing happens until the fuse gets lit. Ignite the world. Peace.